My entry for an APS was basically to stick a C-Wiz on top of a tank. Now I've had to alter the design a little bit, but we finally got something that works. So what I'm relying on to get this working is this spinning thing here. This is a custom radar. It is a medium directional radar that just spins and sits on top of the hollow. Now what this does is it loosely tracks a bunch of contacts. The other unit here is the actual CIWS itself. I should just say C-Wiz. So it has another radar on top, another missile radar. This is a small one, and this radar is the targeting radar, so you can get position, velocity. From that I can even get acceleration. And this needs to point at whatever the C-Wiz is engaging at all times. And the other part of the gun is the gun. It's a custom rotary autocannon made out of 20mm machine guns. So laid out right here, we just have a bunch of missiles, and I'm gonna cut to the chase. We're gonna watch it shoot down these missiles in this order, actually. I have no life. I mean, it does work. Some missiles it has more trouble with than other. Mainly just looking at the attacker. Couldn't shoot that thing down at all, though that thing gets across the map in like 2 seconds. So I'm not going to try to do a rapid fire tutorial by any means, but one of the most important things to do, you want to try leading missiles, is not actually doing ballistics, but actually tracking these things. These things are tiny and fast. And not to go too in depth, but I am using an apply aim force gun. Would probably be easier if you were to use a run-on tick hollow aim gun. But one of the things I added was something that looks at the aim position, the last few aim positions actually. And that's this function we're looking at. It looks at the last few aim positions and tries to figure out an average velocity of the aim position, so it's able to lead the aim position, if that makes any sense. Now another thing that I'm not sure if I can get to is the integral. I call it the ITER over here. But basically it looks at the difference between where the gun is aiming and where it needs to be aiming and adds that. So it's basically an accumulator. And those two things together helps the gun keep tracking these fast little missiles. But like I said, ballistics aren't as important, and you can probably even get away without doing ballistics. However, for ballistics, I was using a pre-computed, I can't speak English anymore, range table, and that is identical to the one in the video tutorial I did like almost last year now, a year ago. The most important thing is the time that you get, because depending on the distance, you know how long it's going to take for your bullet to get there, and depending on time, you know where the missile will be, and you already have the velocity of the missile from the missile radar. I also want to point out that the leading isn't perfect, and I've actually multiplied everything, so I have a velocity multiplier and an acceleration multiplier, and I multiplied both of those by 1.4, so the leading is still fudged, basically. This is basically the latest rabbit hole I've found myself in like 2 months, I want to say. So, I'm not sure how heavy the system is overall, but these machine guns, let's see, there's 4 of them. Wait for this, wait for that. Radars, all this crap. Also, I didn't really show what happens when the radars get damaged, but garbage in, garbage out, the gun shakes around and can't hit what it's shooting at. I don't think it's worth having this thing on any tank. The amount of space it takes up, even though it's mounted on a roof. And it carries 3,000 rounds, which is enough, probably. Especially for my lifespan, more than enough. But basically, I would rather not mount this thing at all, but someone convinced me. Just have a separate version of the finished tank that still has the CIWS on it, because it is pretty cool, and it was definitely fun to work on this, but it is of questionable effectiveness. Even if it could perfectly shoot down a missile every time, you have to wait for this thing to spool up, which I guess I could make it instant, but that's kind of not fun. Anyway, see you around.